Hi, I'm Thom Johnson from Studio Highland, Caddo Career and Technology Center, and the wonderful Film Prize Junior. And today I'm here to talk to you about visual effects. Let's get started. First off, let's define a few things. What is the difference between special effects and visual effects? Well, special effects are this: things that we do inside of the camera. For example, special effect makeup like monsters, puppets, models, or even explosions if we blow up a car for real and we film it. Visual effects are effects that we do inside of the computer, typically in the post-production pipeline. Now, most modern movies use both. They take them together and they form an image, and we call this compositing. Compositing is when we take multiple things and create one new thing from them. In this case, film. In this video today, I'm going to talk to you about keying. Now, I use Premiere Pro from Adobe Creative Cloud, but most modern editing and visual effects software has some sort of keyer in it. In fact, it's pretty ubiquitous now, even in indie and low-budget films, to be using keying. Here's how it works. We film somebody on a green screen or a blue screen. We create a matte with the software, which takes out that green or blue color and leaves the image of the person or the thing that we were shooting on the green screen. We then can take other images that have some sort of transparency to them, and we can create multiple layers, again, creating our composite. Let's take a look in the software, shall we? So here we are inside of Premiere Pro, and this is the standard interface. Up here we have our source monitor, this top left corner, this top right we see our program monitor. Down here at the bottom we have our timeline, and then over here we have our project bin, the place where we keep all of our files that we're using for whatever particular project we might be doing. We also have our effects over here, which is what we're going to be looking at here in just a second. Let's talk about a few things real quick first. Number one, let's take a look. Here we have our two images together, and you can see the green screen. It's still there. I have this background image. Let me move this around just a little bit, and let's just take a look at it. This image is from an artist known as Ben Moss here in town. There we go. For a project we're working on here at the studio. And then above that, and I have to have this above, this is one of the keys to keying, that I have my footage that I'm going to create the matte with above my background image, or background footage as may be, because this could be a video as well. In fact, I'll show a little bit of technique on how to make this image move in the background as well. The first thing though, let's talk about this green screen. Let me zoom in just a little bit here, not too much. Oh, wrong way. Let's go like that. And let's look at this green screen. The key, again, there's that word. The key to keying is that whatever I'm shooting my image on, or the person on, has, whether it's a green or blue screen, is very smooth. And you can see that this green is real smooth. It's lit so that I don't have any distortion in the color. And I mean, I don't have any difference in the color. It's one smooth color. Now, we typically use green for lots of reasons. Primarily, it reflects better against our skin when we're using skin, or it contrasts better with our skin. We don't have a lot of green in our skin. Secondly, we don't wear that color a lot. Now, some people would say, well, we just had St. Patty's Day. Maybe they do, but it's still, there's a lot of reasons, those being the primary ones. Blue and green, we just see them differently, and it has to do with how our eyes see things as well. Regardless of that, again, you can do a key out on lots of different materials. You could use a sheet that you hang up in the background. I have some material here that's just blue that I can tape up to a wall if I need to do a real quick one. So green is just traditional, and again, it has there's a reason again for how we see things. But in this case, you see this spaceship flying here, shot on a green screen. You see this metal pole, and we're going to deal with that metal pole as well here in just a second. But this is the beginning of our composite. I have two images on top of each other, two movies or whatever. And in fact, let's just take a look and see how our ship flies across the screen here real slowly. It's a little shaky, but that's okay. Point is getting across, hopefully. And there we go. So in order for me to remove this green, we're going to use a keyer that we find inside of Premiere Pro. And in my effects drop downs, let me show you this. So over here we have the files that I'm using, and then if I tab over, I can get to this effects for the bin. And what I'll do is I'm going to go into video effects. Here's the first step. And you'll see a folder under here called Keying. And in that folder, you have several different kinds of keys. And they all do a little bit of a different thing. Some of them are using a different way in how they're made as little plugins of software. And again, most nonlinear editing software today will have some sort of keyer. And again, it will be called a key of some sort. It may not be Ultra Key. I think DaVinci Resolves. I think theirs is called, Delta Key is what DaVinci Resolves. iMovie has a keyer as well. So most of these pieces of software will have something that you can do this with. It's really just knowing about the terminology and the process. So the very first thing I'm going to do in Premiere is I'm going to grab this and just hold my right mouse or my left mouse button down and just drag it on top of the image of my spaceship. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this source monitor up here. And so with the image or the video of the spaceship selected, I now have these set of parameters for different things. This is the video's parameters up here, but here is my Ultra Key, and you see it right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little eyedropper. I'm just going to select this eyedropper here where it says Key Color, and I'm going to select it, and I'm going to hover over the green of my video, and I'm just going to click it. Boom. And there it is. Pretty easy. Now, a lot of times, especially if you're dealing with people, you have to deal with some hair flying around and things like that. And you deal with them in some of these other drop downs here, in how you generated the matte itself. Sometimes another quick tip is when you are using a screen of any color, green, blue, or whatever you're using, you want to make sure that you get your object that you're filming, whether it's a person or in this case, this is a practical effect model, a special effect, if you will, and we're using a visual effect to manipulate it with it. So But that's how you would go in and change some of this if it didn't quite key right. And again, the smoother the backgrounds you have, the easier this is. And the further away from the screen itself, the better your key will be, and you won't get what's called spill. And that's when colors come off the green screen and reflect off the object that you are filming. Regardless, there it is. Let's take a look. Now, we're going to talk about this pole in just a second that's sticking out, but we'll get through this. Let's take a look. There it is. Kind of shaky, kind of jerky. That's okay. When we render, it'll clean itself up a little bit. And so there it is. Let's go back to the beginning. And that's pretty easy. That's not difficult when it comes to computer. Now, one of the things is we do need to deal with this pole. So another little technique I'm going to show you in something of this nature will be creating a mask. And I'm going to do that in Premiere Pro under this opacity drop down. Now, what I have to do is you'll see this shape, create a 4-point polygon mask. I'm going to select it. And when I do that, you notice all of a sudden it now has masked off my space, and it's created where only you're seeing you're only seeing a section of the spaceship. What I'm going to do is I'm going to invert that. You'll see this little invert right here, and I'm going to just push that button, and now you see the opposite. So I'm going to manipulate the box to cover up the pole that I have underneath the spaceship. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so I can see better. So I'm going to watch it real quick, and I'll pre-render, which kind of solves some of the math problems and lets me see exactly how it's going to work. It's going to cover up that back part, so I'm going to have to adjust it. And what I'll do is just go back to normal screen. Go back to the beginning of the clip. And I'm going to manipulate these points. And I'm going to pull the points down to make sure I'm covering all of that bar as it moves across the screen. Now, what I can do also is animate this mask that I've created, and I can use it into the parameters here. I have these animation toggles, little stopwatch looking thing, and I can click on it, and this will start to create keyframes, and that'll allow me to move the mask over time. Slow playing, but it'll catch up. This is the computer solving, again, the positioning of the mask. And it can take a little time. In fact, it's freezing up right here a little bit. And there it goes. So the pole popped back up, so let's go back. and I'm going to move into the exact frames where it starts to pop up. And that's where I'm going to adjust my mask. And when I adjust my mask here, it's going to create new keyframes as well. Let me reset all this. Pull it out some. Make sure it's covering all the way to the position where this pole might go. And I'm going to make sure that I move this back point so that I don't cover up the back of the ship as I go. Now this is a real simple, dirty mask. Obviously, you're going to spend time fine-tuning these things. Let me scrub my timeline again. And there's another spot where I need to make sure I move this point. That way the pole is still covered, and make sure. And each time I move down my timeline, when I move one of those points, a keyframe is created. And a keyframe is a simple way to explain it is I'm telling the computer at this point on the timeline, this point needs to be here. Now I'm going to keep scrubbing until I get through the whole clip. So I'm going to work backwards real quick. Yeah, that's a good spot, I think. Very last frame. So we'll scrub back to the beginning or scrub to the middle and just check it out as it moves across again as this mat is animating itself, so to speak. And here's a pre-render. Let me pre-render again, and this will help me see a better version of it. You'll see this little red line at the bottom of the screen, or excuse me, at the top of the timeline. And that tells me that the computer needs to solve something. Now when I hit play, it'll be a little smoother and I can see. The line is. So I was able to animate the mask. Create a way to hide the pole. Let me click off. And basically, if I click on my timeline, all the heads-up displays will kind of disappear. Let's make it bigger and take one more last look at it. I'll go back to the beginning and let's hit play. So probably what we'll do in another video is create a way to put some color on this clip and make it fit in the space better. Well, there you go. There is a way to do an Ultra key inside of Premiere Pro. This would work in any sort of software that we might use, but here's a way to do it in this. Thanks for watching. We'll be making some more of these soon to expand on our ideas of visual and special effects for student and indie filmmakers. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you soon.